welcome back, guys. It's now part 2 of your video questions that you've sent to me to On the Spot. Next video question comes to us from Kane Yo-Yo 619. He asks,
what's up, peeps, and what is up, Spot, aka the review Spot, aka Spot had a thought, aka
I like this guy. This guy's awesome. He should do rap.
OTS, 2 questions only.
He's got a good rap voice.
Background if you want. I really don't care. Or don't. Yeah. First question is, what do you think about CM Punk? I know you've done a review. Haven't you done a review on that action figure?
I have, actually.
Just saying.
That's a good figure.
You peeps should check it out. I mean, yeah, I've done one and he's done one. You check them both out. What are your thoughts on him? Like his career, his speech, I guess, speeches, mic skills, I guess, his life, things like that. Just give me an opinion on him. And then second question.
Okay, so for the first question, he asked me, what are my thoughts on CM Punk? It's funny with me is I'm not always a good expert on picking future talent when it comes to wrestlers. There are some wrestlers that I've always thought to myself, you know what? They've got an incredibly good look, you know, the way that they present themselves. They're really packaged well that they could do more with them, or there's a main event, there's a heavyweight possibility for them in the near future. And some other wrestlers really catch me like blindsided, where I think to myself afterwards, wow, I honestly did not see that happening. Rock, I always thought Rock was going to be big. I thought, not necessarily Rocky Maivia, but I know right around the Nation days when he was IC champion, and he was really sporting that whole Rock and shut your mouth jabroni, I really felt that he was going to be main event one day. Really felt he was going to be huge. Steve Austin, when he was stunning Steve Austin in WCW, didn't really feel that. I didn't really feel, nor did when he came in as the ringmaster, didn't really even see him as main event possibilities then. He caught me off guard. There are some wrestlers that I always thought had huge potential and they never really did stuff with. The con man, Rob Conroy, thank you, I always thought was a good, I liked what they could do with him. And they just never did anything with that guy. And it probably was just politics backstage, or maybe he was a jerk, I don't know. But as it stands for CM Punk, I never followed him in Ring of Honor. And when he came into WWE, was it WWF then? When he came into the WW letter, I honestly didn't see potential out of him. I didn't. I thought he was good on mic, and I felt like he was just a very generic character. There are some characters that I can look at, and I just personally feel like I don't see them going any further than I see. Christian, I thought, didn't surprise me when I saw him do as world champion in TNA, but that's not necessarily saying much. As for CM Punk, though, it really caught me off guard. CM Punk, I kind of just expected him to be in the same league as Kofi Kingston. Trying to think of other IC guys right now. I'm trying to think of other guys. Cody Rhodes. You know what? Cody Rhodes is a good example for me, where I like his gimmick, the stash. He's a good wrestler, but I don't personally see him having the it factor. I just don't see him having it to become World Wrestling Champion, Heavyweight Champion. But that was my feelings with CM Punk. I always thought he was a good wrestler, and he was very good on mic, but I didn't honestly see him being anything more than IC champion, or US champion, or having a feud with a world champion, but never getting the gold. So, I mean, for me, that's a pleasant surprise to see what he has done with himself, and it just goes to show something that I always am a big believer of. When you are yourself, especially in wrestling, when you're doing yourself, you're a lot better than gimmicks that they give you. Look at the Ringmaster with Steve Austin. And, when he got away from that and he was just more himself, it worked. Same with The Rock. John Cena, as much as you hate the guy, John Cena has done very well for himself. John Cena, I honestly didn't see potential in him either. When he started with the mid-thigh trunks with the stripes down the sides, I thought to myself, wow, this guy is going to be forever a jobber, or he's just going to be mid-card at best. I didn't honestly see potential in him. So I was wrong about that. Cody Rhodes, I don't, again, see much potential in him. Dolph Ziggler. Actually, Dolph Ziggler, I saw potential right when he started. I thought, what? Maybe not when he was in the Spirit Squad, but when he was on his own doing Dolph Ziggler, I thought, what? This guy has potential to be this generation's Mr. Perfect. And I've not tapped myself on the shoulder, but I'm glad to see he's done something with himself. But, going back to CM Punk, I will admit, I did not see any potential in CM Punk other than mid-card IC champion. And I don't know if it was just the look. I don't know if it was the long hair that did it for me. But it's like as soon as he cut his hair and he started slicking it back, I really started seeing, okay, you know what? I'm digging this guy. And of course, the infamous pipe bomb. You know what? I really am surprised, I guess is the best word. I'm really surprised that he got as big as he did. I feel like he's lost a little bit of his steam now. I don't know if some of it stems from him having Heyman in his corner, that Heyman is kind of stealing some of his thunder. I know Heyman worked well with Lesnar. I think Heyman made Lesnar a lot better than what he was, even back in the day. But, you know what? CM Punk really impressed me, and he is one of my favorite guys to watch and listen to now on the mic. He's got huge potential. He knows the business very well. He knows how to work a crowd very well. And he knows exactly how to play a perfect heel. And he's also somebody that can't always get away with it, but like Rock, like Stone Cold, he's very good at being in the middle as being the bad good guy, as opposed to, a solid good guy, a solid bad guy. He's one of those guys that can kind of sit in the middle and be really liked as from the fans. So I dig CM Punk. I love that T-shirt, by the way, that he's got. I'm just using my little cursor here for my mouse, but I have one of those. I seldom wear it, but love the CM Punk T-shirt. I love Cult Personality for his theme music. He's packaged very well as a main event wrestler. So that's a very long-winded answer to your question, but CM Punk I didn't honestly see potential in, but he is probably one of my favorite wrestlers now. And I don't know if that makes me somebody that jumps on the bandwagon, but you know what? Sometimes you just have to see something packaged a little bit different to actually like it. And there's nothing wrong with that. For people to say, oh, you're a CM Punk fan now, you never used to like him before. You know what? You can't tell me necessarily that you might have liked Stone Cold Steve Austin in ECW, or you like Stone Cold Steve Austin when he was part of the Hollywood Blondes. So don't say, oh, well, you know what? Sometimes it takes a wrestler to be packaged differently for you to like him more. So that's what I'm going to say about the matter. Thank you for your first question. Let's have a look at what he says for his second question.
Spot, I know you're Canadian. I listen to 3 Days Grace myself. What kind of music do you listen to? Because I don't know. I just wanted to ask another question. So, thank you.
There's nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Thank you, Spot.
There's nothing wrong with asking a second question.
If you did watch. And see you peeps later. Goodbye.
All right, so his second question is, what kind of music do I listen to? I'm kind of across the board. I'm really across the board. Being an 80s guy myself, I love, 80s one-hit wonders. 99 Red Balloons, I love Aha, Take On Me. I mean, I'm such an old guy. I'm an old school. I'm the kind of guy that probably would have that stuff blaring in my car, and the younger kids would look over and say, "Oh my God, is he? Oh God, is he listening to that? What is that? Guns N' Roses? I've never even heard of them." I'm kind of that kind of guy. Aside from 80s music, my favorite bands are like the Rolling Stones, U2. I love AC/DC, Beastie Boys, House of Pain. I used to really like Cypress Hill. I'm kind of, again, just all over the board. At one moment, I might be listening to House of Pain, jump around. Then I might be listening to some classical. Then I might be listening to U2. Then I might be listening to Skrillex. I love Skrillex, and I love dubstep. I love things with real beats to them. Counting Bodies Like Sheep by Perfect Circle. I love that song. I mean, I'm just all over the board. I'm not really into country. I like old stuff. I love Johnny Cash, vintage Johnny Cash. I'm not afraid to admit I like Conway Twitty. Again, like, I'm all over the place. It's hard to really pinpoint one thing I'm into. I kind of just like a whole bunch of things. But hopefully that answers your question. I hope. Thank you. And going back, the next question comes to us from Jason Voorhees. Jason Voorhees? I mean, I'm amazed that guy was able to get that name, Jason Voorhees. You'd think that would be taken. Jason Voorhees. Well done. Unless he changed his name, I don't know. But he's got a hockey mask on.
Hello, I'm the critic. The one, the only, Jason Voorhees. Today, I'm not reviewing a crap film. Today, we're talking about one man. The review stuff.
That's a good look.
Before I start, Spot,
That's a good look.
I got one thing for you to do. Please check out my channel and my really funny reviews of really crappy films.
Everybody check out Jason Voorhees right now. Not right now, but after this video.
Go. My OTS questions. Yes, I know it's a little much, but screw it. Whoever has a problem with that, I'm gonna kill them. So, start out. Question 1. What do you do for a living? Now, I wondered this because I was like, how does he get all this money to buy these action figures? I mean, they cost like, what, $10 to $20? Some of them got even like a lot of money, so I was like, you must do a really good job to get all this money or something. Don't think hardly of it, but question number 2. List your favorite Friday the 13th movies, the ones I'm in.
You know what? Well, sorry, I kind of skipped over his first question. Let's answer the first question. He asks, what do you do for a living? What do you do, Spot, for a living? I'm not going to mention the actual company, but I work for a company that delivers things. I'm just going to leave it at that. Do I like my job? Well, it makes money. That's... on the side, I do make some money from doing these videos that you guys see right here, and when you guys view ads and all that jibber jabber. As it stands for how I afford stuff, I mean, the honest truth is, aside from whatever new I pick up, which is stuff here and there, I always sound like a broken record saying this, but the general consensus of when it comes to reviewing, I'm reviewing stuff that's from my collection. And you might think to yourself, wow, you must have an extensive collection. I do, but it's stuff that I've collected over the course of, say, 12 years. Like the animated series stuff from Batman, Justice League. Those are things that I've picked up here and there over the course of, 10 years. And when Justice League was big, for example, I was in stores picking up 1 or 2 figures. I may pick up the Javelin, Movie Maniac figures. I bought them retail. I remember going into Toys R Us. When I used to work for Staples Business Depot, I used to go into Toys R Us and I used to buy, a Jason Voorhees at 1 minute. maybe next week, the following week, I would pick up, I don't know, I'm just using an example, Ghostface. So, I mean, it's stuff that I picked up. I didn't like literally empty out a bank account and go and buy stuff. I think that's very irresponsible. I don't suggest that to anybody that is trying to build a collection. Don't break your bank trying to do it. Again, a lot of my stuff I just picked up over the course of 10 years. And my biggest problem was when I collected stuff, I didn't have any place to put it. I literally had no place that I could put it. I didn't have shelving. I had a couple of bookcases that I could put figures here and there up. But what I would do is I would buy a figure, and then I had a walk-in closet. And I would put the figure in the walk-in closet, and I might put it up in shelving in there. But I didn't do anything with it. I had no space to do it. And my big mind, my big imagination, I thought to myself, well, when I eventually get a house, as most collectors always use that story, when I get a house, I'm going to open them all up, I'm going to put them on display, then they're going to look sexy. And then what happened is when I did the reviewing, when I started doing reviewing on YouTube, I thought to myself, you know what? I got all these figures. Why don't I actually just review toys? Because initially I thought, well, you know what am I going to do? But I just review toys. And that's really how it started. That's the honest truth. Like sometimes I might find deals on things, but I don't spend as much money as I think you guys think I probably do. A lot of it is just accumulated mass is probably the best way to describe it. But you know what? Speaking from an older guy to like maybe Jason Voorhees here, his younger self, I probably would say to anybody out there, always afford to live within your means. Don't ever, spend money that you don't have on getting stuff. It's all relative. It is all relative. Because you know what? If you're a big Justice League fan now, you can go back and get stuff online cheap. You can go on eBay and buy cheap figures because everybody's looking for the new thing. Catwoman, as a good example from Movie Master's Dark Knight Rises. Catwoman was on eBay for about $80 with the visor down. I've gone into two Toys R Us now, and I've seen that Catwoman on the peg. Nobody's touching it because Catwoman's not big anymore. What's big right now? Superman stuff. But again, it's all about distribution. Sometimes if stuff is available on mass market, you got your big stores like your Toys R Us, your Target, that have tons of them. And you know what? You can get them at relatively affordable prices. Although the answer I gave SXE Blues, is quite relative here too. Prices are going up, which is ridiculous. But you know what? Collect stuff that you like and collect stuff that's available. Don't go... unless you're into things like Transformers and vintage stuff, then you're going to be paying more for it. But, like for me, I've just been lucky enough that I am tapping into something that I have been investing into by collecting them earlier in life. And I just built them up, that when I'm reviewing them now, I'm just reviewing stuff mostly that's from my collection. So that's hopefully in a nutshell how to answer your question. Thank you as well for your first question. Let's have a look at his second question.
The other guy. Favorite Friday the 13th movies from favorite, no, I won't do this. Least favorite to your most favorite ones. Favorite Friday the 13th movies. And my third question is...
Okay, he asked 3 questions. I'm going to let it slide. But his second question was favorite Friday the 13th from least favorite to most favorite. Least favorite Friday the 13th, I'm going to say... I don't know, because Nightmare on Elm Street, you have really good sequels of Nightmare on Elm Street, and then you have really bad movies like The Dream Child. And Freddy's Dead, I didn't mind, but New Nightmare, I find New Nightmare is almost unwatchable. I don't know why everybody rips on the remake. I like the remake, but I gotta say, New Nightmare is just long. And that kid in it, oh god, that kid in it. As for Friday the 13th, I think there's more enjoyable versions of Friday the 13th than there are not as enjoyable. kind of just beating I'm beating around the bush here. You know, here's the funny thing. Almost one of my least favorite Friday the 13th is such a shock to say this, but almost one of my least favorites, and by such a small margin, is Friday the 13th Part 7. The New Blood I like, and I like the look of Jason, but I find the movie itself is just hard to sit through. I know we get the premise of Friday the 13th is Jason killing people, but it seems so much more lifeless, if I can use that word, in Friday the 13th Part 7, where it's just like, kill, another kill, another kill. And it's just, there's no personality to the actual people. Compare that to, like, for example, Part 5, you know, where you had the foster home, as it were, for the orphans. They all had personality. So when they died, it was more interesting. Part 4, I like the characters from Part 4. Part 3, again, interesting characters. Something about Part 7 where I find the characters just aren't as interesting. So therefore, when I see them die, it's like, I really don't care. I really don't care. And then to sit through and watch it, even Part 8, which I initially thought Part 8 was my least favorite Friday the 13th, but by comparison, for how the movie flows, Part 8 I almost find is a little more enjoyable to watch than Part 7. Jason Goes to Hell, I actually don't mind Jason Goes to Hell that much. I mean, I know Jason's not really in it, but at least it's interesting. Part 9... well, Jason Goes to Hell. Part 10, Jason X. I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. I mean, for me, it's not enough just to have Jason look a certain way. For me, it's also the story. And I find with the story of Part 7, it's more of what we got with the other Friday the 13ths, but somehow they sucked the life out of it by putting very uninteresting characters in the movie. It's almost like the remake of Friday the 13th. I love the look of Jason. I thought the deaths were cool, but the characters were so uninteresting that almost ruined the movie for me. If it wasn't for Jason being really cool in it, so I'm going to say Part 7 is my least. My favorite is probably going to say either 3 or 4. 4 just because it's the most iconic Jason. It's just the guy with a hockey mask. He's not really a zombie yet. He's not a killing machine. It's just some guy in a hockey mask with the knack for killing. Part 3 I love just because of novelty. I even like Part 2. Part 2, 3, and 4 are probably my favorites. Of those 3, I would say maybe 4. Maybe 4. And his last question.
If you could create a hero and a villain, what? And a world for them to live in, what would you do? So, thank you, Spot, for being a Jason fan. What would you do?
I'm just going to rewind this a bit because I just want to make sure I can hear that.
And a world for them to live in, what would you do? So, every Friday the 13th movies.
Just going to turn this up, guys.
If you could create a hero and a villain, what? And a world for them to live in, what would you do?
Oh, if I could create a hero and a villain.
Okay.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, and I won't do this here, but Spot's been working on a story for like the last 15 years of his life. And I'm in the process, and I'm not saying anything's happening, but I'm in the process of trying to contact companies about it, about doing either a comic book for it or some other form of medium. So I'm not going to talk about it right now, but Spot's been working on stuff for a long, long time. So I'm just going to leave it at that.
Thank you, Spot, for being a Jason fan.
You are welcome. I'm
Means a lot to
big
me.
fan of your work.
Yeah. So, I'm the killer critic, Jason Voorhees. I review the crap cinema, so you don't have to. And Spot, you always hold a special place in the black hole of what heart I have.
Aww.
Thank you. I want to speak to you. So, Mother, what do you want to say? Spot, Spot, I love you, Spot. Call me Pamela.
Gotta say, I'm a little creeped out by the
That's
skull,
enough, Mother. I
but
think you gotta figure him out.
you're welcome.
What's wrong? Is there something wrong with a head talking to a man with nice hands?
Nice hands. How about that, eh? All right, so that is. Thank you again for your question, Jason Voorhees. 3 questions, I might add. This is going to be wrapping up part 2 of On the Spot. Again, thank you guys for all your video questions. I'm going to continue with video questions in part 3, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys then.